Hey everybody, welcome back to Infinite Jeff, the project where my name's Jeff, I read to you the book Infinite Jest, which is a novel published by David Foster Wallace originally in 1996, and I'm reading it to you here one day at a time, one page at a time. We're on to page 91. Here we go. Teshay had diplomatic status, Remy. Mideast. Saudi. Said to be close to minor members of the royal family. Morath sniffed hard, as if congested of the nose. Puzzling, he said. But also a compatriot of yours. Canadian citizenship. Born in Ottawa to Arab emigres. Visa lists a residence in Montreal. In services without specificity, wishes maybe to ask were there below-the-surface connections that make the individual not such a civilian unconnected. To ask of us would the AFR wish to make him the example. Steepley was removing the dirt from his bottom, swatting himself on the bottom. He stood more or less directly over Morath. Morath sniffed. We have neither digestive medicals nor diplomatic entourages on any lists for action. You have personally seen AFR's initial lists, nor in particular Montreal civilians. We have, as one will say, larger seafood to cook. Steepley was looking out over the desert and city, also, as he swatted at himself. He seemed to have noticed the gespent phenomenon of his own shadow. Morath, for some reason, pretended again to sniff the nose. The wind was moderate and constant, and of about the temperature of a USA clothes dryer set on low. It made the shrill whistling sounds, also sounds of the blowing grit. Weeds of tumbling like enormous hairballs rolled often across the interstate highway of I-10 far below. Their specular perspective, the reddening light of vast tan stone, and the oncoming curtain of dusk, the further elongation of their monstrous agnate shadows, all was almost mesmerizing. Neither man seemed able to look at anything but the vista below. Morath could simultaneously speak in English and think in French. The desert was the tawny color of the hide of the lion. Their speaking without looking at one another, facing both the same direction. This gave their conversing an air of careless intimacy, as of old friends at the cartridge viewer together, or a long-married couple. Morath thought this as he opened and closed his upheld hand, making over the city Tucson a huge and black blossom open itself and close itself. And Steepley raised his bare arms and held them out and crossed them, maybe as if signaling for distant aid. This made X's and pendentive V's over much of the city, Tucson. Still, Remy, but born in the hatred Bayou, Ottawa, this civilian attaché, and connected to a major buyer of Transgrid Entertainment, and follow-up out of the Boston offices reports possible indications of the victim's prior possible involvement with the widow of the auteur we both know was responsible for the entertainment in the first place, the Samizdat. Prior? Steepley produced from his handbag Belgian cigarettes of many millimeters and habitually female type. Film director's wife had taught out at Brandeis, where the victim had done his residency. The husband was on board over at AEC, and different agencies' background checks indicated the wife was fucking somebody. We will find out tomorrow in the next installment of Infinite Jeff. But for now, that was page 91. And I bid to you a fond farewell. Adios. Hasta mañana. Off.